Welcome to the ECG podcast, a show where some East Coast buddies who have never met in person gather remotely once a week to hang out and talk about our love of video games and other shared interests. I'm one of your hosts, Chris Waterman from Jacksonville, Florida, and today I'm joined by Adam Gumbert from Lexington, Kentucky.
Hey, what's good?
Got Georgia Ravelo from Miami, Florida.
What up? What up?
Got Zach Cassell from Boston, Massachusetts.
Yo, oh my God. We're less than a month away from football starting, guys.
Yeah, it's crazy, huh? I can't believe it. And not last but not least, we got Robbie Bobby Miller actually on time for the podcast, showing up at the start. What is up, Bobby?
OG down.
We'll
provide context to that later.
We're recording a little bit later this week due to some scheduling issues, so we apologize for the little bit of a later drop. But we'll be talking Marvel, Black Widow, and our thoughts on Loki. We will also be discussing two new handheld announcements that we got last week. One from Nintendo, one from Valve. And then we're going to wrap up with probably what I would call an extended what we've been playing. We're going to give some impressions and thoughts on games, including Rogue Company, Disco Elysium here behind me, as well as Scarlet Nexus. And there's one more. George, help me out. What was the
Rogue
other
Company?
Yeah, I said that. Oh, Fall Guys. The new season of Fall Guys, of course. You know we love Fall Guys on this show. So how's everyone doing on this fine Sunday? It's when we're recording this on this fine Sunday.
Good. I'm glad to be back in a full roster here of our podcast guys. So good to see all of you guys. It's been a while since we had five video feeds.
Yeah, I know, man. It is nice to have a full crew. I have had a very expensive week. I repaired my Xbox, which we're not going to talk about how it's sustained damage, but it's sustained damage. I bought a Titan Evo 2022 Batman chair, which I'm currently sitting in. Kind of hard to see. I don't know. I'll have to turn off my virtual background eventually here. And last but not least, I secured a 3070 Ti graphics card. And of course, because online retailers are scumbags, I had to buy it in a bundle with a power supply unit that I did need, so that was fine, but a CPU and keyboard that I did not need. So hopefully I can recoup some of that cost, post some stuff on the internet. Also had my first concert post-COVID last night, which was awesome. Got to see the legendary King Crimson, late 60s, early 70s progressive rock band. They were fucking awesome. Like they, for being some dudes that are up there, sounded great. The singers sounded great. They're like a 7-piece band. They had 3 drum kits in the front. It was so good, man. Had a great time.
Sounds like Slipknot.
Slipknot, yeah. Decidedly a little like quieter, than Slipknot. Although they are Slipknot, Jesus, Slipknot. Although they had some pretty heavy stuff for like the time period that they were releasing music. Huge influence on Tool. If you got any Tool fans out there,
man, I got to go to a concert, man. I was supposed to go see Slipknot, as a matter of fact, and I was like 2 or 3 rows from the front, and then that's when they started canceling everything.
Yeah, it felt good, man. It really did feel good to be back in a crowd. To get some live. I really like live music. Some people don't, and that's okay. But I live for it. So yeah, it made me very excited for the rest of the shows that I have for the remainder of the year. Anybody else do anything fun this week?
Who else you got coming up?
Well, I will be seeing Modest Mouse in August, and then the thing I'm looking forward to most is Welcome to Rockville, which is in November, which is a kind of a hard rock heavy metal festival that's 4 days. Headliners include Nine Inch Nails, Metallica for 2 nights, Rob Zombie, Disturbed, Offspring, Mudvayne, Leonard Skinner, Cypress Hill, Deftones. It's a really good lineup. I wish they'd kind of condense that into 3 days versus 4, but otherwise I can't complain.
I've seen a lot of those bands, man, but I have yet to see Metallica, and
this will be my second time.
I want to see them so bad.
They're great, I think a couple tours ago I'd heard that they were starting to slow down a little bit, but they were pushing themselves like they were in their 20s still, and they're obviously not. They've been building in breaks. Like I don't think they do more than 2 shows in a row, like 2 days in a row, and then they usually take 4 days off during the week. Like so they'll do like 2 shows, have a break, do a show, and then like take off the rest of the week, which is hey, good for them. Anybody else do anything fun this weekend?
Not particularly, no.
Okay, just figured I'd check in with you guys.
Saw
It's
Been
Snake
busy
Eyes,
selling
man.
these bad boys.
I
You ain't
know,
seen 'em.
man. I've seen your hustle on eBay. How's it working out for you so
I've
far?
got the virtual background. It's messed up. I'm selling all these rookie cards, man. I have made $500 in a week selling football cards, so it's not too bad.
Hell yeah.
That's amazing. I mean, I don't want to assume, but I imagine that's probably at the very least recouped your cost of like what you've bought or come close to it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it basically I basically broke even at this point. Now I'm just
Yeah.
everything else will be gravy.
Hell yeah, dude. That's great. Fantastic. Well, let's get into we'll start off with I'm gonna call it audible. Let's do the handhelds first. So Nintendo and Valve each announced handhelds. The Nintendo one was kind of long expected. The Valve one was long rumored. Just general impressions. So we have the Nintendo Switch OLED edition, which for all intents and purposes has a bigger, better screen with no other additional features. And then we
I'm with you,
have
man.
yeah, I think we're all in the same boat. We'll get there in a second for sure. And then we have the Valve Steam Deck, which essentially is a portable PC for gaming, with 3 separate price points. The top 2 have a NVMe, hard drive for faster load and install times. The base model has an attractive price point. So whoever wants to start, kind of give me your impressions on both of these devices. Very different devices, right? Like kind of going for, I mean, the Steam Deck is obviously going for power and like zero compromises, with maybe a little bit more of a price tag if you go for the higher 2 models. Switch OLED just seems to kind of want to do, can't even really call it a mid-gen refresh, just like another SKU depending on like, if you're somebody who wants like a bigger screen or whatever. So thoughts?
Think this is it is obviously like some apples to oranges comparisons, right? They have
Sure.
2 distinctly different target audiences,
Yes.
and they've even come out and said so, but still the timing is still kind of peculiar, right? Like of it, kind of coming out. For me, like let me ask you guys. I don't think Adam has one, but who here owns a Switch?
I do. Bobby
Okay.
does.
Who
Zach
here
does. And
like
Josh does, in case
really
your audio-
wanted to upgrade that Switch?
to like, I mean, when you say upgrade, you mean like actual,
Yeah, I
like
wanted
more
an
powerful.
I wanted a better, more powerful
Yes.
Switch
Oh,
Pro.
hell
We
yeah.
all wanted. How many of us are gonna get the new Switch?
That's
Exactly.
what?
I mean, Bobby
Bobby's
buys
raising his
everything.
hand now, man.
Yeah, Bobby
Bobby
raises his hand
buys
for-
everything, and he's not gonna play it. So I mean, that's all you need to know. Like there was a large, user base, client base, whatever you want to call it, that really desperately wanted a more powerful Switch and was like, here, take my money. I want a new Switch. I will buy it. I want a better Switch. And this is what you give us. I mean, it's not entirely, it's disappointing, though not entirely shocking, because I mean they've done that several times with their 17 different Nintendo DS models that they had, right? So it's not it's kind of in line with what they've done in the past. It's just like I think we got our hopes up with what all the other companies have done, right? All of them with the new gen consoles, they've
All the
upgraded
rumors too.
the rumors too, right? Like not just new gen consoles, but also the pro versions of their consoles, right? The 1X, the PS4 Pro, and now you've got the brand new gen consoles, and to not have something that can at least have some sort of visual upgrade, performance upgrade is pretty disappointing. So I guess starting with the Nintendo first, I'm super disappointed. Will not be getting it. I saw GameStop's deal was like $150 to upgrade to a new one after they like come out. You can't pre-order it that way, which isn't terrible. $100 maybe I would have done it, but still really disappointed. Like the stuff that it's coming out with, the new things are useless to most of us. I don't know what the numbers are on how many people play it handheld versus docked, but like who the hell wanted better audio? Like if you wanted better audio, you're gonna use headphones. Like, and if you, like, no, I don't know. I think it's pretty obnoxious to be playing that like on speaker, like in public in front of people. Like you're probably using a headset. The whatever, the LAN port, like, dude, I mean, it's just, it's
That
so
should have
lame.
been there to begin with.
Yeah, it's stuff that should have been there to begin with. come on, like a better stand, you know, like I don't know about you guys, but I never use that freaking kickstand. I would use something else instead, right? So I guess that's good, but you know, I think that it's only 350, right? So it's $50 above the original Switch price, which I guess is okay. But for me, massive disappointment, and not at all what I was expecting whatsoever.
Do you think this will become the new like main Switch? Like, do you think that
You
they
have to.
will like
I think
phase
so.
out
But
the
that
one we
means the
have
Switch will
now?
have a price increase, though. You know, like for the not. I guess. Yeah, I mean, I guess you would call it the base model because the Switch Lite is a light model, right? So that means
Yeah.
the base model is getting a price increase. What 4 years into its life? Like that seems.
I think so. I mean, I think so because, like, I don't know, like if you're a new, so if I was buying a Switch for the first time, I'd get that one, right? Like, why would you get, unless they're gonna drop the price of this Switch, right? The Switch Lite is what, $200?
I think so. Let me double check.
They'd have to drop this to 250, in my opinion, for that to make any kind of sense. Because like, why would you, if you're gonna spend $300 for a Nintendo Switch, may as well spend $50 more to get this one. Like,
Yeah.
why? You know, I feel
Yeah,
like
it's $200. I imagine like they could drop everything kind of well. They could
but then
drop
it,
the base Switch $50, the Switch Lite $50, or because
they'd almost have to, right? Because then if you drop the base Switch to 250, then why would you get a Switch Lite? Well, for $50 more, you get one that has so much more,
yeah.
you know, capacity. So it's a really curious. I mean, it's gonna sell out. Obviously, it probably already did. You know, people are gonna pick it up like crazy, like always. You know, it's just not what I wanted. And I don't think it's what most of us want. Like if you had a Switch already, I feel like this is pretty disappointing.
Yeah, as an existing user, that's the biggest thing. It's the
Yeah.
most disappointing to people like us who already own it. It's definitely super attractive if you're a new Switch owner, for sure. Like but yeah, I mean, other than that, it kind of sucks. And then I heard that they came out and said, that's it. There's no more. We don't have any other SKU
Plans.
of the Switch on the horizon. So like that's even more disappointing.
What do you like? Here's the thing though, like yeah, if you don't already own a Switch, I could see why it's more appealing. But is it any more appealing than the Switch was? Does it make you want to buy a Switch any more than you already did before? Like I know this past year was hard to get your hands on one, but I feel like this isn't, I don't know, they didn't add any features to it that are like, oh, now's the time to get a Switch. Like, you know, I don't know.
Yeah.
This
Oh,
I-
go ahead, Adam.
Oh yeah, my bad. I don't. So again, it wasn't what people were expecting, and I've been doing some research, and other people have, where Nintendo seems to do a new console iteration every 2 years. So 2 years you could get the Pro that everyone was expecting, which would make sense. I don't have a problem with an OLED; it is nicer, but if they had made it the base model at 300 and dropped the other ones, have been fine. Nintendo doesn't drop console prices, so this one being 350, they know they can sell for 350. People are going to buy it. And the base Switch is going to say 300 and the Lite is going to say 200 because they don't change their prices on stuff. If they had put that at 300 and dropped the other ones, I don't think people would be so upset as they were. But I mean, it is what this is their plan. They're going to have 3 models until they decide to stop producing one at some point. And
It is perplexing because if you're not going to upgrade the hardware, right? Like if it doesn't have better performance, in other words, like presumably making another SKU means that there's like some kind of untapped market that you're going for if you're not going to get rid of the SKU. So what is that untapped market? Like that's the question I have. Is like what are they seeing here that I don't? Is it just to have something more expensive on the shelf that they know people will buy? Is that it? Is it just for money? Like
Not to mention that 64 gigs of internal hard drive space, like that's insane. Like damn phones come out with a lot more than that standard these days, which is insane. You know, but whatever.
yeah, we'll talk a little bit about that when we get to the Steam Deck because that is also at 64 gigs for the base model for $399 with expandable storage. You know, there's that caveat, and the same for the Switch. You know, micro SD cards aren't very much. Like I bought one for my Switch pretty immediately, like because I'm a digital guy for the most part.
It's true.
So I think I know the answer to this question. Adam, does this make you want to suddenly go out and buy a Switch again?
no, again, no. I have no I didn't have an interest in the Switch anyways.
But I mean, you
Again,
own one for a bit, right?
I did own one for a little bit, yeah, and I
Yeah.
enjoyed it for the games I had, and then I was done with it. Again, if they had made this the base model at 300, that would be more interesting to me if there was ever enough stuff that I cared about. But at 350, I'll just go buy a base Switch again for the price, because again, it's nicer, but I didn't use it handheld enough for that to matter to me.
I'm very curious as to like the amount of pre-orders. Are these people who are getting a Switch for the first time, or are these people who already own Switches? You know, like it's just, I don't know. It's very curious to me why somebody who already has one. I don't know. I guess if you have the money, I mean, it's not a money issue.
I guarantee
too,
it's
but
people with
just,
day one Switches who just are like, it's time to upgrade, so I'm going to upgrade. Or just it doesn't matter. They'll sell out. People who either couldn't get a Switch last year, or people who have super old Switches are like, well, it's a new one.
Yeah, and this goes back to the classic thing, right? Like if we all run out and buy this stuff, they're gonna keep thinking that's cool, that's okay. And I'm not upset at it. I'm just disappointed. It isn't good enough for me to come out and want to get it. And I was really hoping, like I would have been so down for 4K or 1440 at 60 frames, like at least 60 frames. Like, damn, this damn thing still runs at 30. So at least, like, I don't know, I feel like there's some pretty minor stuff that they could have upgraded to it that could have gone a long way, that I don't know why, that I feel like is super doable, but we'll see. I hope something else does come out, but who knows.
So transitioning,
Steam Deck.
Yeah, it's the Steam Deck.
Also, Bobby, I think Bobby's on mute.
Yeah,
his
I was
mouse
muted.
moving.
My bad. Yeah, I
Oh.
just noticed that. My bad. Yeah, I just wanted to say for the Switch, my thing is, I really didn't want to get the OLED. I honestly feel like they did it backwards. I think it should have been the regular Switch and then the OLED and then the Switch Lite. I think that would have been a better order. They would have probably got more money that way, as opposed to, it seems like we skipped one to get where we are now. It's really not worth it. But a few months ago, a buddy of mine, a Nintendo guru, passed away from COVID. Feels like almost 3 months now. And he bought every Switch that ever came out. Like, he Nintendo through and through. And I love that guy. He's the reason I even tried to do anything. And I'm going to buy this one as a memento to him. But other than that, I don't have any use for an upgraded Switch. But I just don't think that they did it right. I think it should have waited, did the light last, but that's my opinion.
Yeah, so it sounds like we're pretty much all on the same page as far as appeal anyway for us, And hey, if this is your bag, go for it, listener. Just it's not for us.
Now, I will say, I do like the screen. OLED is great screens.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Less bezel. I think it looks great. I don't want to hate on it, but it's just not for me. I mean, the first one wasn't for me. So,
well,
the
the
screen
first
alone
Switch
is
OLED was the PS Vita. Let's be honest.
It's true.
Head of its time, I suppose. Steam Deck time.
Yep. So launching for the base model of $399 with 64 gigabytes of storage is the Steam Deck. We have two other SKUs at $529 and $649 a piece. The primary difference being 256 gigabytes for the mid-tier model, and then the top tier is $649 is 512 gigabytes, and of course that's with an NVMe SSD, which means faster load times and install. Like I would assume, like if you're installing games onto it. Now this sucker has appealed to me. I have pre-ordered it. It's not due to come out for me until Q2 of 2022, even though it's launching on holiday of this year. I know off mic, George and I had talked about how that's actually rather attractive for both of us, because if this thing comes out and doesn't perform as advertised, which I have less of a worry about, or maybe doesn't have the game availability, or if there's some kind of hardware what's the word I'm looking for, like recall type situation, red ring situation, hopefully we'll know about it by the time ours is about to ship, and we could potentially delay purchasing it. But this on paper is very appealing to me. I love that I can like install games from my PC and take them on the road. It sounds very, very powerful. And I think Gabe Newell went as far as saying that they are taking a huge bath on each one of these right now. It's a painful price point, is what he said. What are your thoughts on this?
Let someone else go first here.
I'm getting the mid tier. I remember a long time ago they came out with, actually I think it was NVIDIA's Shield Portable, the one where you could stream your Steam to the controller, had a screen built in. That thing was fantastic. I'm excited for it because my daughter took my laptop for school, virtual learning, so I don't have a gaming laptop anymore. So I would like something different, but that's just me. But I'm excited for it. I think it's time. It kind of feels like Sony or Microsoft should be coming out with something at this point, but they're both doing strong in their own ways. But I like this as a different option. I'm sure Rogue Company will be on there, so I like that too. But yeah, I'm definitely buying a mid tier one.
Same, mid tier is what I ultimately went with. It seemed like a comfortable price point of like, for me, it's like I have enough onboard storage with the NVMe where I can keep the games that I'm actively playing on there, on that NVMe drive, and then have the, SD card, micro SD for like backup kind of stuff, like stuff maybe that I want installed to the device, but don't care, about load times or whatever. Maybe kind of those lower benchmark, like indie games and shit like that. Cool. Zach, Adam, are either one of you guys interested in this?
Zach, you want to go or I can go?
I mean, I'll go real quick.
You go.
I'm definitely interested in it just because I don't play games on PC. So to be able to have this, to be able to play those kinds of games is pretty cool. I don't think it's something where I think I would, try any really multiplayer games or anything like that. I think I'd keep it more single player narrative focused kind of games. But there's just so many things on PC that I know I've missed, and this gives me that option. I won't get it right away, but I mean it's definitely something that piques my interest infinitely more than that new Switch model. So that's for sure.
Yeah, a lot of times you see, not just AAA games that are exclusive to PC sometimes when they launch, but like lots of indie stuff, man, like comes out on PC in early access or, for even like, for the full release. And, but, you have to wait a year or more since I like look at Hades. Like that wasn't necessarily a bad thing because they improved it, over time. But like, it's cool to have the option, I think, and portability especially. I love that they have like the mouse trackpads, and then on the back you've got those, R1, R2, but there's also R3, R4, L3, L4. So they had like the paddles on the back. So I'm excited to finally feel what it feels like to be able to jump and stuff in games without having to take your thumb off.
Oh yes, the Elite controller. Yes, I'm excited about this. I think it looks I think it's awesome. My only concern with it is that I'm spreading myself too thin. That's my only hesitation to it. It's like I'm trying to think of where I would fit using this in my day to day. I think that if you are someone who is a main PC user, it's a fucking no brainer. And if you don't have a PC, it's a no brainer, which is a huge amount of the population of gamers these days. For me, I mean, I put the pre-order in, same thing for the second level one. I think it's mid tier. Because it was like it's $100 more. It's a little bit more convenient. I'll roll with it. NVMe is quite nice. But now I've got, man, I can play my Xbox and PlayStation portably. I've got my Switch. I already have a really good PC. So it's like this would be a very, very expensive luxury that I know won't get used too often, but it's amazing. If this thing delivers like it says it will, it looks awesome. And it's an incredible price point. I mean, you're talking about the entry one is $400 for something that is essentially going to be a pretty powerful PC handheld. And then you can buy the, it doesn't come, I don't think it comes with the dock. Those are accessories and stuff that you got to pay for, but it sounds reasonable giving how much power this thing is packing. So, you can dock this and still play it on a TV or a monitor or anything and so it's a really nice way to get yourself into like high-end PC gaming without having to, spend thousands of dollars on a rig, and also if you don't want to go through the trouble. So I feel like there's a huge market for this. I think the $5 reserve thing is awesome for me. I don't think it's so awesome for them. I think that's crazy. But I suppose there's gonna be they have it tiered, right? So like if for some reason people bail on it, the people in the next quarter or the next set of they'll be moved up and stuff like that. So I personally don't mind receiving it a little bit later, get to see how everything fans out. I am a little bit skeptical about how powerful this thing can, like whether how this thing's going to perform, right? Because it's going to be taxing on this thing. But as Chris mentioned, I'm also really excited about the control, right? Because I think it's time that most consoles and gaming in general move to that type of controller, because after spending some time with the Elite controller, I can't imagine going back and even going and playing on the PlayStation controller. It feels like I'm limiting myself, that I wouldn't play anything, competitive on there. It's an Elite controller like that with the paddles and all that stuff I think is the best way that you can compete with, mouse and keyboards and stuff like that as we're moving to a cross-gen, cross-platform, day in gaming. I think that's a nice step forward that they're giving you. So I'm excited about it. I had no idea this thing was coming out until you heard the IGN stuff and all that in the past couple of weeks. So hey, but $5 is all it costs me right now to lock that in, and I'll make that decision later. But I don't see why I wouldn't pick something like this up, man. I'm pretty excited for it.
Have we hit everybody? Adam, Bobby, do you guys have any additional thoughts?
Oh, I didn't talk yet. I think that it's really cool. This is the handheld I think is the most interesting. Just the fact that it's a handheld that can run real games. I think is a really cool thing. Not for me because I don't handheld game enough, but I think it'll be awesome for people to be able to play, awesome mini games that are only on PC, just great. Like you can, I guess this is one of the only ways you can play Horizon Zero Dawn portably, like good. I know there's like remote play or whatever, but like you can buy that game on Steam and then play it on handheld. I don't know if anyone said it, but I know that you have ways to run other programs, so you could technically run Game Pass on this. I think like with a Windows desktop.
The Pokemon trading card game, you can do that on there.
Yeah, it's a really interesting machine. Again, not for me. I'm not a portable guy. I would never really use it because if I'm at the house, I'll start my PC. But I think it's a really cool machine, and I think it's one of the more interesting portable devices that have been made if it works the way that they expect it to work. So I think it's awesome, and I hope it does well, and we'll see what happens going forward.
I'm kind of like Adam. Like I feel like this thing is going to be awesome, but I could see it sitting for months without being used in my house. Kind of like my Switch. I haven't used my Switch in, I mean, I use it right now on a flight to Chicago to play FIFA 2018 while I was on the plane. But yeah, it goes through times where I just don't use it for weeks or months at a time until something piques my interest. But when I do use it, it's awesome and I love it. So that's what I think the Steam Deck would be for me. $500 is kind of a lot for something that might not get used a good bit, but it sounds amazing. And if you can fuck with it and mess with the operating system and all that stuff, the possibilities are endless.
Yeah, for me, I think what it comes down to is like one, travel. I love having something that that can play games on the move, but also like I like the idea of, so I remember when I first got my Switch, like, because there wasn't a lot besides Zelda at launch other than like indie titles, right? Like there was a whole bunch of indie titles. So like I used to lay in bed, like, like in the evenings and like put on, like a podcast if I was playing something that I didn't mind kind of like listening, or, my wife would watch TV and I would game for hours on my Switch, like until the battery died essentially. um I can see a scenario where like there's games that I'm like Disco Elysium is a perfect example. We'll get to that in a second. Like but like that, I'm currently playing it on my PC. I could see a situation where like I don't feel like being in my nerd den anymore, so I'd cut off the lights, go lay down in bed, and just like presumably you could pick it up and through the cloud saving, like just continue like where I was, right, and just play in the comfort of bed or whatever. So that's where the appeal is for me as well.
Yeah. How awesome is it going to be to like have a new console and on day one have a shitload of games, that you already
have
own?
thousands of games potentially. That's why.
Yeah.
And those Steam sales, yeah, they ain't no joke.
Yeah,
Yep.
Steam
So,
sales are great, man.
fucking great all around. It's gonna be a huge hit if they can deliver. They better fucking deliver.
Good way to break the bank for sure, as well, I think, anyway. Awesome. Well, let's transition into some television talk here. Marvel's Black Widow, as you can see behind George, if you're not an audio listener, he's got a background, and Loki, two things that essentially came out simultaneously. Loki had a few weeks of airtime before Black Widow came out, but there was sort of a little overlap there with them. Where do you guys want to start? Do you want to start with Loki, which is behind Adam, or do you want to start with Black Widow? Whatever one you pick, that's the person you like more.
Wow.
Oh
Let's
wow.
hit Widow first.
Yeah, I
Widow
feel like
first?
it's simpler. Loki's is gonna be a little bit more
Okay.
complicated.
Yeah.
I think.
You gotta
I'm
unravel
good.
a lot
So
of it.
we are doing full spoilers. So here is your courtesy warning.
Okay, hold on. I haven't seen either one, so I'm gonna hop off for a sec.
Okay. You want us to just in the Discord?
Yeah,
We'll let
we'll
you know?
message you in Discord, right?
Yes, yeah, just let me know on Discord.
Cool.
Yeah,
Perfect.
sorry.
All right. Glad I said
OG
something.
down.
I'm in the middle of half of Black Widow. So I'm like
So,
half of
right.
we paused it. My daughters have been sick, so we didn't get to finish it. But yeah,
Very
go
good.
ahead. Sorry.
Never mind,
Sorry.
mate.
No, you're good. We'll let you know. All right. So for you listeners, there's a nice lengthy spoiler warning, and here we go. So beginning with Black Widow, I just want to say before I get to like the larger thoughts, I thought this had one of the coolest openings like to a Marvel movie. I loved like the setup. It felt like the opening to like a Bond film, like to me, like genuinely, it just like you're like right in it. Like it's that flashback, sets up a lot of stuff. I thought it was a super strong beginning to the film. Did you guys like it?
Hell
Yeah.
yeah.
Feels very Mission Impossible Bond, like that kind of. The first half of the movie feels like that a lot, which I think is a good thing.
Yes.
Yeah, this is the closest. Like I saw somewhere read this, and I was like, "Oh man, this is actually perfect." I don't know if it was IGN or Polygon. Someone wrote about it. Like this might be the closest that we'll get to a female James Bond movie. And I was like, "Yeah, it's exactly right." But it shouldn't be. Like, why not?
We
Why
get
not
the
get a
next
female
Bond
James?
is a female. They already confirmed that.
Is it okay? Well,
Is
I
it?
mean, this is the
That's
closest thing we have so far, which I thought was great. So
That's what I thought too. I like the whole time I was watching, I was like, man, I'm watching either a Bourne movie or a Bond movie, and like all the best things about it's like, yeah, I thought it was awesome.
I will say I'm a little tired of the slow, breathy covers of songs. Like "This Smells Like Teen Spirit." Like I was just like, oh my god! Like, do we really need another slow, breathy version of like a '90s song? It's been kind of overdone in my mind. So the credits I didn't care for, but I did like the opening scene. Um, what are your overall thoughts? So we all agree it has that Bond feel. How'd you guys like it?
I liked, like we were talking a little bit in the Discord yesterday. I liked the movie a lot more than I thought I would. Honestly, I wasn't really interested in it, honestly, because I feel like she's getting a solo movie. It's way too like overdue. Like it should have been a long time ago. She's dead now. Spoilers. Like it's just like what's I get it. They're gonna set up the new Black Widow. It's pretty obvious from the get go. Wasn't too interested in it. So that's why I didn't watch it like the first weekend. But I was like, all right, we got some time, let's do it. And I really enjoyed it. Definitely kicking myself for not having watched it sooner. Because I really enjoyed the movie. I thought it was a really cool like spy action, movie. I think it did a really good job. The only thing that I don't know, it's less Black Widow and more Yelena, man. Like right here. I feel like it was more about her than it was about Black Widow, which is like I get it, it's a passing of the torch. And she kind of stole the show for sure. But it was a really fun movie from start to finish. I really, really enjoyed it. I really recommend it. It's definitely up there for me. In terms of the Marvel movie, I'm still bummed. Like I feel like she deserved this movie a long time ago. It's a bit long overdue. I feel like for what's been a pretty critical member of the Avengers for quite some time.
Yeah.
I
Oh, go ahead.
no
Sorry.
no go ahead, man, go.
So I mean, cast wise, like that was what I was most excited. I think so. Florence Pugh, who plays Yelena, um, I seeing her in Midsummer, like I knew she was gonna be something special as far as like an actress. Like she does such a fantastic job, with some really really tough emotions in the context of just a horror movie. I mean, just like absolutely, that movie is so grim, and she's amazing in it. David Harbour, like I was hoping that like after kind of the stinker that was Hellboy, like he'd bounce back, and he very much does. Like in the when he is essentially what is it? I almost called a Red Skull, but that's
Red Guardian.
Red Guardian. Thank you. Yes,
Crimson Dynamo.
yeah,
Crimson Dynamo.
was fantastic. And then Rachel Weisz is just amazing in anything that she's in as well. And ScarJo, coming back to be able to do this role one more time, like I think she does a great job. It feels like a send off, and in a lot of ways, to me, felt like more of like the true end of like the prior phase of the Marvel movies. Like I know Spider-Man Far From Home was supposed to kind of feel like that, and it did. This also felt kind of like an epilogue, to that versus like the first true movie of the next phase of Marvel. Do you guys agree with that?
Yeah, especially because like she's not there going forward, and we know where the story takes place in here and everything. I feel like it was more of just a her the last hurrah really, and I mean yeah, I think they did a really good job with the send off.
We had the epilogue, right, that kind of ties it into like the goings on currently in the MCU. But I would argue,
That's
Loki,
this
which
year too.
It were
It
reshoots
is.
though. That was a reshoot, by the way. That was not
In the
going to
movie
be
version.
there in the originally when it was supposed to come out. This was supposed to come out last year, right?
Yeah.
So what I
So-
wonder what the original end credit scene would have been, because there obviously would have been one.
Yeah, I don't know, but I did see that was a reshoot that they had to come back and do, which Florence Pugh was kind of sad about because it was like she was filming it without 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 ScarJo.
But at least you got, Julie Louis Dreyfus is it's not a bad scene partner for that final scene. It did feel a little like a commercial for Disney Plus, a bit, but I didn't mind it. It was cool. I'd argue that Loki, which we'll get to in a second, felt more like a true opening at, in the end of WandaVision as well, to like what we're gonna get in the MCU going forward. Um, what did you think of Taskmaster as a villain or heavy? Like
Bad man.
underbaked,
especially-
like I think as a what's the word, like like a force, an antagonist, like a physical antagonist, like Taskmaster worked really well, like obviously seems like a dangerous like adversary and things, but it almost feels like they just did the intro of the Winter Soldier over and over again, like before you like learned who the Winter Soldier was and you get all that emotional impact. Like that's, and I know that they tried to kind of have that payoff, like, but I saw that coming a mile away. I was like, oh, I know who that is. Like,
The minute that she brought up, old dude's daughter was, I'm like, oh, that's Taskmaster. I can
Yeah.
fucking guarantee it. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it is a very easy twist to predict, and I just don't feel like they. It was underbaked. Like I don't feel like they did very well with that villain. Like it's definitely a bottom tier.
I like the first scene on the bridge when we get
That
to
was
see
awesome.
Taskmaster use the powers. That's awesome. And then after that, it's less and less because again, mimicking moves and that stuff's all cool and that's awesome. But as we go on, the next scene is Taskmaster in like a APC, and then at the end of the movie, they cut away from the Red Guardian fight, so we didn't get to see Taskmaster fight Red Guardian.
That
I'm
was
just
so
like,
bogus, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I like that.
So-
I don't mind that they changed the character because people are like, oh, it's this random. I don't care about that. They can change it, but it's just not interesting. Like the character doesn't even talk the whole movie.
Yeah, that killed it for me, especially like just knowing what Taskmaster is capable of, like in the comics and everything, and just seeing not what he was reduced to, because he still did she still did pretty much the same things that he's known to do and everything. And yeah, it was awesome seeing her come in and do all those awesome moves and everything. But yeah, I was just let down at the character overall. I felt like it was, they just shoved in there just to be there, because that really could have just been a souped up henchman. and
Do-
it was Taskmaster almost in name only.
I have a little bit of a different take on that. I did see a lot of people were giving them a lot of shit for the way that Taskmaster was used, but here's my thing: like if you yes, you could have absolutely replaced Taskmaster with just like, super strong random henchman dude, right? But then we would have hated that. We're like, dude, this shouldn't fight anyone that's even remotely a threat. So it had to be kind of like a low level tier, some sort of villain, right? They had to use someone. And I agree, it is underbaked, underdeveloped, but I feel like I don't know where you would have squeezed in the time to do it. Because if they had any time that they would have spent in character development for Taskmaster would have taken away from what this movie was supposed to be, which is a Black Widow movie send off, and it would have made the movie a lot longer. Taskmaster is really just a tool, and she can't really speak a whole lot because she's basically completely mind controlled by Dreykov. So I don't know how, like, yeah, it was kind of obvious and all that kind of stuff, but I don't know how much more you could have done without taking away time from the movie because something would have had to get sacrificed. I don't think this movie could have been any longer. Um, and I don't know how much you can really do in given the way that Taskmaster was going to be used for this movie. So I was fine.
Maybe
with
if the
it,
reveal had come a little sooner, it would have felt different. Like you would have
Yeah.
had some empathy or sympathy for like what that character's going through. It just felt like the way they presented it, like it was supposed to be this big shock, and like I was like, nope, I've known this for like the prior like 30-45 minutes. Like, well, I haven't known, but like I've strongly suspected. And like by the time you
I,
get I feel like it just falls flat like a little bit.
I can see that where they're kind of like insulting our intelligence by giving us a reveal, like if we didn't know. And had they maybe given us a very short scene early in the beginning showing her surviving that attack, then it's kind of obvious from the very beginning that she's Taskmaster, and it's not so much like a big reveal at the end. Maybe it would have given a little bit more backstory, also for people who don't fucking remember or don't even know because of how long ago that whole thing was. Like my wife was super confused, and she's watched all the movies, but she's watched them once casually.
Yeah.
So maybe that something like that would have definitely been better. But I don't know how much time because Taskmaster was really she was just a henchman, just a tool here, a weapon. So I don't know how much more they would have put in there. I do agree that not showing more of the fight with the Red Guardian was super lame, because that's when the Red Guardian was at his best. I thought David Harbour's performance in the first 30% of the movie to first half was kind of cringy. Like I wasn't a fan of his character in the prison and all that stuff. But he was so much better in the second half, so much more likable and interesting, and that's kind of when he started getting going. So I wish we could have seen a little bit more of that fight for sure.
I look at as far as what you were saying, George, right? Like a lot of people consider Killmonger to be one of the better Marvel villains, right? And they introduced him and killed him in one movie. So that just shows that they can definitely take a villain, introduce them to you, make you like them, and get rid of them all in one movie. And they just didn't do that here.
It's a much bigger movie though, and I would argue that movie was just as much about Killmonger as it was about Black Panther and all the other characters in there. I would argue in that movie Black Panther doesn't get enough time in some instances as well. I see it can be done, but I thought, like, I don't know, man, Killmonger is one of the most highly regarded villains in this MCU because he took so much in that movie. So I don't know that I would have wanted that for Taskmaster, but I don't know. Could have. You're right. It could have made it a lot more awesome because I mean, Killmonger's never going to come back as far as we know, and he's still like freaking loved, right? So, but I don't know if Taskmaster could have done that, especially being masked the entire time. I don't know.
All that said, I do like Dreykov a lot. That guy did. I think he did. Is it Dreykov? It's something Russian. I don't fucking know.
Yeah. It's Dreykov.
I liked him a lot for even with his very few scenes where this dude just like he knows. I mean, he knows
Fucking
his
monster.
powers before we know, but
Yeah.
he knows it. He's like, I don't fucking care. Do what I want. You can't do anything about it.
Yeah, Ray Winston's always fun as a villain.
I did love seeing Black Widow kind of break him, like make him lose his shit, and it's cool while she's talking shit to him. That was pretty awesome.
So do you think number one that Antonia Dreykov, so Taskmaster, like as Antonia, not as Taskmaster, is coming back. And then second kind of related question is, aside from the obvious, like we know Florence Pugh's coming back, like they set her character up, like Yelena like is obviously coming back, like who else do we see like in the MCU, like who do you speculate?
David Harbour's character is definitely gonna make another appearance. I think all the major players in this movie you could potentially see again. Is definitely Red Guardian for sure. Obviously, I'm just gonna call her Black Widow because that's what she is. That's what they even called her in the thing. They're all Black Widows, right?
Yep.
So, she's obviously gonna be back. We'll see her in December. So yeah, I think Harbor, her, you might see what's her name,
Rachel Weisz.
Rachel Weisz character again. Yeah, she's harder to nail down than the other ones, but everybody we said obviously spoilers. Everybody that leaves at the end battle together, I feel like you could see all of them again.
Yeah.
Does that include Taskmaster? Or do you think like that we're done with that character, or do you think that character comes back in some way?
I could see her coming back and being teamed with them because they made it a point to say that they weren't leaving her behind and everything, so
Yeah, I could see them kind of being used like in like one of the big like
Yep.
combination movies where like they come in as kind of like a strike force type.
All the widows, yeah.
Definitely,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
what I thought too. That they there's gonna be some other big giant Avengers culmination movie, big war, and I could see the widows showing up there briefly. I don't think that Anthony is gonna come back as Taskmaster. I could see her just coming back as her own thing, and could see someone else pick up the mantle of Taskmaster. Honestly,
would she still have all the capabilities though? Like, is that like programmed into her?
I don't know, and I don't know how much is still programmed with that antidote. So I have no idea. But it's a project, right? What is it? Activate the Taskmaster project protocol, right? So there's probably more than one, right? And as we know, like in a lot of the comics, like Taskmaster's a dude too. So as it's same thing in the Avengers game, right? So there's
Yeah,
I guess
that
more
I mean
more than
that
one.
makes sense. I didn't even think of that. Like, because I forgot they did say activate, so that she could have just been like the prototype,
One of them,
or
yeah.
something like that. Yeah, so somebody else could just pick up if they're gonna like make it a tech in the MCU, implant the tech into themselves or whatever.
Yeah, it wouldn't be wise. It wouldn't surprise if you saw more Taskmaster or another one in the Hawkeye series that's coming out as well.
Very nice. Well, let's transition over to Loki, which I think we've all finished. Again, spoilers for anyone that maybe hasn't finished it or started it. What'd you think of Loki?
Awesome, man. Man, the end. I'm jumping right to the end real quick because it just blew the doors wide the fuck open for like what is now accessible. Like what Marvel can dip their fingers into is pretty. This is essentially a reset, right? You could do whatever you want now from here on out because you could pull from different universes and pluck them here or take someone here and put them over fucking there and yeah, man, it gives them, I feel, a way, and this is wishful thinking, but like this gives them an easy in for all the X-Men. This gives them an easy in for where have the Eternals been that people were talking about, like. But the only thing is in the Eternals, they know about Thanos and all that, so that has to be this universe. My mind is just
no,
fucking
because
going.
Thanos is in other universes. Like,
Yep, there's more than one.
Yeah, he's in all the. Yeah, I mean, so, yeah,
It's crazy, man. Like it's just your mind just it gets pulled in so many different directions, thinking of what could possibly happen. Like, look, wrong way.
Yeah.
Is he gonna come, dude? Like, come on. They're like they brought Ross is being featured way more now. Like, and like, why bring him back if you're not gonna have Red Hulk, man, come on, I'm shitting my pants. Like, this is great.
So did you guys? So I don't know. I guess we're going straight to the end, right? All the good shit, or do we want to?
We can bounce around. I mean,
right.
I think like the end is like the most exciting
thing,
I
right?
mean,
Like-
for so many reasons, but there's two
So-
main ones.
A couple of things, right? Like at the end, I kind of liked how like I don't know, kind of like I would argue this is supposed to happen because at the end, Loki is a Loki and gonna do selfish things, and that's why she freaking kills him. You know, she know that she was gonna do it, and almost like I think that part was written too. Like this is supposed to happen. I don't think that they're actually breaking anything. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. Now I don't know.
You think he had like you think he knew that was gonna happen?
Yeah, I
You
do.
think Kang? Because I remember at one point he was like, "Man,
Well-
after this point, I don't know."
Yeah, so I mean that's what he says, right? So that brings me to my next thing, right? You guys know that that actor is the same guy that's supposed to be Kang the Conqueror in the new Ant-Man movie, right? But he himself is not Kang the Conqueror.
It's gonna be a different version of him.
He is I believe the director said that this one was more like he was more shaped like Immortus or whatever. So so this shit can go all kinds of different ways, right? Like it can really, literally, like you said, it opens up all kinds of possibilities and all kinds of doors. So I don't know. We'll see what his different variants are going to come about. What I was kind of surprised at is, and maybe I could use a little bit of context here. So Loki went back, right? He walks through the portal, and then Mobius doesn't recognize him. Like
He got sent back using he
right. So he didn't
special thing.
He did not get sent back to his
Right.
timeline.
We
right?
don't know.
He got,
Universe.
we got to assume that he went to a different one,
Yeah,
right?
correct.
You know, so that shit's all kinds of crazy, and I'm just so bummed that we never got to see Mobius ride his fucking jet ski, man.
That'll be a
shame.
thing.
But that just
happens.
means it's coming, man. Eventually, it's coming.
Yeah,
So-
it's just like the fucking piss take of at the end of Age of Ultron, you know, Cap snapping to and go Avengers, you know, and it cuts to the
Yeah.
fucking credits. Like,
Yeah.
you'll get the payoff eventually.
Hopefully he gets to ride his damn jet ski, but yeah, I thought like, you know, I thought from the get-go, I predicted that the what is it, the timekeepers were not really the thing, especially when the way they went to go find them. Like, nah, these things are some's not right here, you know. But I don't know, I love the series from start to finish. I thought it was really good. I really liked, I don't know what the actress's name is, but she was in Doctor Who or whatever, right? So
Sylvie, you talking about Sylvie?
yeah, Sylvie, kind of. I forgot. I don't know what the actress's name, but
Yeah,
yeah,
I
she was
don't
in
know.
Doctor Who. Kind of funny that she's like bouncing through time, right? You know, a reference to that show as well. But like, I don't know, man. I liked her. I hope
Was
it's not
she
the
in
last that we
Doctor
see
Who?
of her.
I don't think she's.
Wasn't she wasn't she in she was, maybe it's not Doctor Who, but she was in something where she's like time traveling. I don't know. I could be wrong.
Yeah, no, she's definitely not. But like she does remind me of the woman doctor in Doctor Who.
Maybe it's just it was just whatever, something similar to that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was pretty good from start to finish, man.
I think it
I liked her
sags a
character
little
a
bit in
lot.
that show sags a little bit in the middle. Like there's like a section like after the first couple episodes that was like it wasn't bad. It just kind of like sags a little bit. I think it starts really strong and ends like especially strong. I mean, we got to talk about you know, the introduction of Kang the Conqueror, played by Jonathan Majors. I thought that was a show-stopping sequence. Like he was so unsettling and weird and had an intensity that I think just was you know, magnetic. I mean, a really really great performance. I can't wait to see him show up in that role.
That's what I agree with you 100%. And the biggest thing that I question now is like, so obviously, well, not obviously, do you guys think that we will see him appear in some capacity in like multiple Marvel movies going forward to like demonstrate, like, because he said himself, he was like he's like, I'm coming. He's like, there's gonna be hundreds of me, there's gonna be a war. Like, do you think that we'll see him, even if it's in the background or something in Shang-Chi? Do you think we'll see him in the Eternals? Because like supposedly he's gonna stop being everywhere now. And like you were saying, his acting was incredible. Like, if that is the case, his range is gonna have to be all over the place because he's gonna be playing different variations of himself. It's not all gonna be the guy we saw
I think
running the
you'll have a
TV.
core there that's recognizable, as like that character. But I think like I don't think they're all gonna be as like I wouldn't characterize them, I guess, as happy-go-lucky, but as like slightly cheerful, as that guy. Like I could see there being versions of him that are like
Because he said, "I've been a
sadistically.
conqueror. I've been
Yeah.
whatever."
For the record, I was confusing her with Jodie Whittaker, but she looks just like her, man.
Yeah. No, I
She
mean
looks
I
just
can see that. I had a look. I was like, is she? What? No, yeah.
She looks just like her. They're both English actresses with short hair like that and everything. Sorry.
But I mean, obviously, so the splitting of the timelines and the reveal of Kang were huge for Loki. I think some other things the show did really well. I mean, giving us our first canonically like queer character in the MCU was super super cool. Especially like somebody that's a major character. Overdue obviously, but great nonetheless. That revealing that Loki is bi, which totally. Not that I mean, come on, that character seems like he gets around and has a good time,
It's like Oberyn from Game of Thrones.
Yeah, he's just he you could tell he's a complete hedonist, right? Like
all things that happen in the comic books for all the fucking people that are fucking bitching about it and stuff like that and having issue. All of that happens in the comics. It's nothing fucking new. So get the fuck over it.
yeah, I don't know. I ignore people that complain about stuff like that.
Yeah,
Like,
it's just literally not even an issue one at all.
Yeah, 100%. Owen Wilson as Mobius was great. What a fun character he was, like
Especially that first episode. Those two are so good in that first episode.
they are, man. Good chemistry
All of
on
their scenes together, man. Are just
and even I love, like I mean, Mobius's character, like his journey throughout the entire show. Like you see some genuine like sadness and like betrayal, like kind of as he learns a little more about the TVA. I think he does a really good job bringing some gravitas to some of those scenes where he like wants to believe that he's like doing the right thing and he knows what's going on. He's in the know, and when he kind of learns that's not true at all. He's convincingly like sad, and you know, uh, when he supposedly is pruned and like gone, it was like that's like there's no way, like he's going somewhere. Especially when you saw that happened to Loki. I was like, well, no, I definitely know Mobius is fine. now,
yeah, that's what I questioned too. When I saw him die, I was like, oh no way. As soon as it happened to Loki, like you just said, I was like, not a chance.
Yeah.
I also really, really enjoy. First of all, this is my favorite Marvel TV show that they've done so far, without a doubt. Set design, like the way the TVA looks, is fucking perfect. That place is the most interesting thing I've ever seen in the MCU, and the music, the themes in this show go hard. Every time the episode ends, it's like, oh man, like here we go. The TVA theme, especially in episode 5 when classic Loki is fighting. I forgot the name of the smoke monster. They mix the TVA or the Loki theme with Rise of the or Flight of the Valkyries or whatever. Oh my god, it's so good.
So interestingly enough, the TVA is a real building in Atlanta that they've obviously like added some special effects, but it's the Marriott Marquis Hotel in Atlanta, Georgia. If you look that up, you can actually walk around on that space. It's cool as hell.
It looks like a 60s like modern Art Deco kind of a thing. Yeah.
Really neat. But yeah, I agree. The set design is fantastic, and this is also my favorite Marvel show as well. I think they just like everything comes together in a really, really fantastic way. You know what I mean? Like beyond the acting and the story, I mean, like it feels so cohesive, and I think 6 episodes is like such a perfect length for a show like this, because it didn't feel like there was as much like I said it sagged a little bit in the middle, and it did, but that wasn't like an entire episode. Just like certain sequences, like kind of found myself like spacing out just a tad. But what you guys think of all the Loki variants? Like, so we got the alligator Loki, we got the President Loki, we got classic Loki, who I thought was fantastic. Did you guys enjoy that little twist?
Alligator Loki was the fucking best, wasn't he?
Florida Loki.
Yeah. So I thought that was fucking awesome. I I mean, who didn't love that? But then I also kind of liked how the Loki, future Loki, they looked kind of like the classic one in the comics. I kind of like how he went out like a fucking G.
Yeah, that was badass.
Was fucking awesome, wasn't it? So you know, um, I thought that they were great. I really liked that, and I also love the scene in which the other Lokis showed up, even the one that looks like him, and just fucking they're all just screwing each other over, man. It's fucking, it's great. It's great. That I love that whole scene where they go back and just see all the other Lokis. I thought that was awesome.
It's like almost like his worst nightmare is like being around other versions of himself. Arguably worse than like earlier when they had him and who was it, like
Viv.
yeah, from like where it's just that endless loop where he's in jail and he's trying to see if he can get it to turn out different. So
Oh yeah.
very cool. Anybody want to say anything more on Loki before we move on to some impressions on what we've been playing?
I'd just say it's really good, and we talked about it at the beginning, but it just sets up that I've never expecting a show to set up that the multiverse is a thing now from this point going forward. That's wild. So good on the TV show for doing that.
Yeah, I think like it was a strong use of that like intellectual like property, and like it felt like this Marvel show was actually like not relevant, necessary, right? Like it felt like it had like good purpose, which was awesome. And the only one that I know of that has a second season, right? Falcon and Winter Soldier, like they'll continue in the movies presumably, and they've already said that like no WandaVision second season, so that's also kind of exciting.
Oh
And
really?
Yeah,
Interesting.
those are limited shows, whereas this one actually will have a second season.
Cool.
Which is, yeah, it's neat. Cool. All right. So let's move into what we've been playing. Bobby, the camera is, I can see it's a Lego something. It looks like it might even be Star Wars, but it's, you probably have to turn off your virtual background for a moment.
He's still muted. I just sent him a message on Discord.
Okay. Fair play. Does he know that we're done with the Marvel stuff? We should probably.
That's what I just told him.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. He'll get there. I believe in him. I'm going to let you guys go first with Rogue Company because multiple folks have been playing Rogue Company. Bobby's putting in his headphones. Bobby, we're doing Rogue Company, so you can chime in on this as well.
I heard it was good.
Oh, you haven't been playing?
Yeah, he has.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, I was like,
Bobby's
shit, I'm confused.
cracked.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so sell me on this, fellas. I've seen some clips on from Twitch and things that you guys have been posting, but have not haven't played it myself.
You need to download it, man. It's free. Nothing's better than free. And family.
Yeah.
We
Strong to family.
dude, so we like, I don't know, I joined I was in a like a support group for people who stream, and I saw some dude was playing it, and I was like, oh, this looks kind of cool. And like, I never heard of it. It's got objectives. It's a third person shooter, so it kind of shoots and plays a little bit like Fortnite or PUBG, except you can't zoom in, right? However, the characters are similar to that of Apex or Overwatch, just not as like OP with their powers and abilities. Like each one has different things. Some characters can, I don't know, my favorite character right now, like whenever you activate her ability, every time that she shoots and causes damage, it sets them on fire. It creates fire. There's some other ones that do other things that, drop, I don't know, barbed wire on the floor. They all have their own little unique abilities, but none of them seem to be particularly overpowered. Some definitely seem stronger than others. Some seem like shit, but pretty much no matter who you play as, you can kind of compete. So it seems pretty balanced there. It's 4v4. For the game mode that we've been playing the most is called Strikeout, which is 4v4, and you each start with 16 lives. There's also like a point that you can capture and control, which can regenerate your lives for every, I think, 30 seconds that you hold it. And basically you just got to eliminate the team. First to 3 rounds wins. So the games can be long if they get a little sweaty. But I don't know. I picked it up, and like the first few games, I was just like destroying people. Like it was like I had to look up whether I was playing against bots or whether that was a thing or not. It's not. And then I just convinced these guys to hop on there, and we've just been playing. And for the most part, we're kind of like winning pretty handedly most of the time. And it's been a lot of fun. So much so that I think most of us have purchased not only the season pass, but like a lot of the characters you have to either pay to unlock or you can grind out enough to be able to unlock them. I've played enough to be able to have like unlocked 2 of them for free, but there's so many in there, and there was a big sale. It was only $50 for that pass. It was on sale for $25, and it's going to give you some rogues that haven't even been unlocked, haven't even come out yet. So I was like, we've been playing this game enough, so I think we all bought that pack. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun. It's like I would describe it as a casual shooter. Like I think it's easy to like learn how to play it and pick it up, but I don't know. Adam, Bobby, what do you guys got?
It's basically Valorant, but third person is the way I explain it. CS:GO third person. It's one of those free to play, like you said. I just love that style of you can get good, you can get really good, but it is free to play and you can play casual. But I just love the all right, buy your weapons at the beginning of the match. Well, know when to use your pass or know when to use your ultimates and all that. I mean, I would get into Valorant if I wasn't trash at PC shooters. Like this is that kind of game, and I think it's a really good one. And High Res puts out a lot of games that are like other games, but free and very good. So I've been enjoying it. Said I dropped the $25 to get all these characters. It's a fun time, man. I would say everyone jump in if you like that sort of team, character-based shooter. Check it out.
Bobby, how about you? Been having a good time?
Yeah, I think everybody should be any character but this guy because he's mine.
OG down.
Yeah.
OG down.
I hate when the randoms come in and take my guy. But don't be the healer either because it's kind of awful. Because usually when you shoot and you get someone down, the chances that you're going to die, like you're down and then you can get killed off, like instead of bleeding out, seems pretty quick. So his healing seems, it's kind of dumb because usually people want to just want to kill you all the way. But I mean, I've enjoyed it. I bought the pack. I'm glad it was half off. I almost did it when it wasn't half off, and I'd have been mad at myself if I would have found out later. But yeah, this guy, he's the best, man. I like him. I don't like that he says OG down.
You got to give the context for that. Every time that he gets knocked down, you just hear OG down.
Yes.
That's how he asks for someone to be picked up. It's really annoying.
And no one wants to pick him up because he says that, and I don't blame him.
And I think the first game that we saw somebody with him that was playing as that guy, he just died over and over. So it just became like an inside joke or meme because the guy died like so often on our team that it just literally you just kept hearing on the audio, OG down, OG down. So sorry to cut you off, Bobby, but
no, you're good. You're good. Yeah, I mean, I like it. The 4v4 seems cool. I know that what was the Tom Clancy's X Defiant. Yeah, that seems kind of similar to this, honestly. So I'm hoping that and that's a 6v6. So we'll see how that is later. But so far, I like this. I remember getting this a long time ago, but never getting into it when it first came out. Kind of like all the other games that come out free to play. But this is pretty cool. I like it. OG down.
I heard the game was a little sloppy when it launched, so I think we just came in at the perfect time because the game works well. It's polished, clean. I did discover a glitch that I'll talk about here in a second that's kind of game breaking, honestly, that I even elevated to them. But the game just works. Like there's sometimes you feel like you get shot through a wall, but that's probably latency. It happens in any game, but there's not a whole lot where I'm like, that's just bullshit. It's, the game just works. It's a very simple game. Like I said, casual shooter describes it very well. It does have some mechanics that I haven't seen before that I find kind of interesting. Some that I like, some that I don't. Number one, you can surrender in that game. Which I fucking despise that, right? So your team, if you're getting your ass kicked, your team can initiate a vote to surrender, and basically it ends the game and gives the other team the win. I can see it like, I guess if you're getting your ass absolutely handed to you and you don't want to keep playing another 2 rounds, You can call it. You need a majority vote, so 3 out of the 4 people. Sorry, I think all 4 have to agree to it. So I always refuse
Yeah,
because
me too.
I know, bitch.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can also kind of you can still. I pulled out some clutches out of my ass in that game. Like I happen to be pretty good at it. So that was an interesting mechanic. Then there's also with this one I kind of like. But this is what results in that glitch I was talking about. At least it's happened twice. So it's hard to quit matches. You can't quit a match. If you try to quit a match, it doesn't let you, right? You cannot play the game you can't play a different game while that match is still going on. If you try to like close out the game from the Xbox menu and reload the game, when you reload it, you get thrown back into the match immediately. You don't go into the menu, you get put right back into that fucking match, which I kind of find interesting. I would hate it if I'm trying to get out because it happened twice because I was trying to get out of a match to group up with a friend because the games can be lengthy. But I noticed that it threw me back into the match. It's like it discourages you from leaving or quitting, you know? However, I also noticed that resulted in a game-breaking glitch. The 2 times that I did that where I exited out of the game from the Xbox menu and loaded it back in, for the remainder of that round, I was invincible to bullets, which, as you can imagine, would be a problem in a shooter. I was literally invincible to bullets, and I clipped it on Twitch, and I sent it to high res. I elevated that, and they responded to me in French. So I'm sure they're taking it very seriously. So there's that, which I thought was really really odd.
Did you Google Translate what they said to you?
I should, right? I didn't bother. I responded with like, I don't speak French. Like, I don't know. So I don't know why they did that. But I probably should to see what they're asking for. I'm guessing it's probably just thank you for submitting something. Very weird. So, I mean, that's kind of an interesting mechanic, not letting you quit deterring quitting, but it can be frustrating as well. The other problem is you can go AFK. You don't get kicked out of games for going AFK. You can fucking sit there and go AFK. So sometimes that happens when your team wants to surrender and you don't, they just mail it in, which is really frustrating. So again, I think it tries some cool things when it comes to that with the matchmaking and quitting and stuff like that. But some of it is also counterproductive as well. But definitely worth a try, man. Like I recommend that you guys pick it up. We've been having fun with it. It's fucking free, So, and it isn't pay to win.
That's good. Yeah, that's important to.
Yeah, that's like that new Pokemon game that pissed me off. Is the new Pokemon game that came out is pay to win, and then the one Twitch streamer bought everything in there, and now he's never lost because it's pay to win, and he didn't break the system. It's just Nintendo messed up, not making sure that didn't happen.
So that's sad. Quickly, I want to touch on one other shared game that we like multiple of us have played, which is the new season of Fall Guys, which is, for lack of a better word, kind of jungle like themed, right? That's a pretty accurate rainforest jungle themed. I really like it. I think it has the best finale in any of the games, like kind of Legends of the Hidden Temple style, like maze is super, super fun. And like, it's a lot less of like a single file line of people that are all just going for one objective and more kind of people are splitting off and like working their way through a maze that has various like hazards and stuff. I would just say overall, I think this is like maybe along with like the prior season, like the strongest expansion they've done like to date. Like there's not a whole lot of stinkers, like, in the levels, like
fucking rhinos.
The rhinos, they can be a little frustrating, but that, it's kind of fun. So it's a like hungry hippo style thing where you guys are essentially the balls that the rhinos are going after, like the little pearls, and they will yeet you off the map, and you have to kind of survive and dodge them. I like it. I mean, like I don't have much more to say other than that. Like it's reinvigorated me, like the last season did, to kind of want to like get back in there and play semi regularly. So mission accomplished there.
Yeah, same here. I enjoyed it. I love all the jungle maps that we played. Not as big a fan of that rhino variation because, I mean, look, the game has. Man, fuck that shit. All right, fuck those rhinos. But I feel like, look, the game obviously that's part of the game that it has a variant of luck. Like there's a certain degree of luck, for advancing. There is skill in there, but there is also some luck that has to play a factor. And I feel like that particular game mode, the slider when it comes to skill and luck is the furthest along luck as compared to any other game mode. Because you can avoid them, but it's kind of random whether the rhino is going to target you and hit you or not. You're not exactly the most mobile thing, and it's 3 of them, so it is harder to like keep up with them. And then once you get hit, like how far you get thrown and where you land is completely all over the place, right? Like you get yeeted, and if you're lucky enough, you might land on a thing that'll shoot you back into the arena, or you might just get pulled out of the arena. I think you mentioned earlier it's a little long too. It's like a minute. Or something like that.
It's 90 seconds. I think
90 seconds.
It's way
if you have
too.
to
It's way
survive
too
that.
long. I think that should be like 45. Like it's one of those things that'll wipe like half of
More than
your-
half. Yeah, it's
of
been
like
every time
when I
that we
say half,
play
I
it.
mean with like 45 people left. Like it'll eliminate people way more. It's like when they used to put slime climb, for like the second round. Like that was unnecessary.
So it is pretty brutal. However, like it's all the maps are fun, and I love the little bouncy, jumpy platforms. I fucking love those. Those are so fun and satisfying to jump on and try to cross through. It's
They
a
look
lot of
like
fun.
lily pads. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would think that I think these are the least frustrating like levels for me. Like when I play them, like it's not to say that they're like easy or anything, but I think they work really well. Like there's not like a whole lot of shenanigans like where I get frustrated with stuff. So yeah,
sure.
check that out. Bobby, have you played it yet?
The new season, no.
Adam,
No.
have you played it?
No, I haven't booted up. You guys didn't invite me when you played, so you know.
Oh,
We did. We absolutely said like go hop in there.
Yeah, anybody hop in there? Jack's even joined.
Yeah.
Nah, I don't think so.
Oh,
Yeah. Can't help it if you don't want to read the Discord chat. It's fine.
We'll probably play it again this Thursday, probably Tuesday or Thursday.
Yeah, I'm definitely hopping on Tuesday without a doubt. Cool. Well, let's bring it to a close here. Talk a little bit like what we've been playing individually. Keep it semi brief. For me, it's Disco Elysium and Persona 5. Persona 5, I'm just kind of chipping away. Cross that 65-hour mark with it. Not really close to finishing, but I'm okay with that. Still enjoying it. Disco Elysium. Boy, oh boy, that final cut. So I was like, PlayStation Network's down. Let me fire up. And I felt bad, it was calling to me. I'm like, I got this free upgrade. I bought this game for $40. I never really like played more than an hour of it. Let me see. And I decided to restart it because like, even though I had a pretty good idea of like how it opened and stuff, I wanted to just get like the full experience with the new update. And the biggest change is that it has voiceover acting. And I can tell you like it immediately like just having that made a huge difference for me. Like whereas like I played the first hour and I was like, yeah, this is kind of neat. Like I was immediately like hooked because there's a lot of dialogue that happens in this game, and to have to just simply read it all like for the most part like prior like made me kind of, I mean, I'll be frank, like maybe a little sleepy. Like I'm playing it. I just had like a big lunch the first day I ever turned this on, and I'm having to read through like lines and lines and lines and lines of text, which I don't mind, but I just have to be in the mood for that. Whereas like this, it's an immaculately acted like thing where like there's actually really great voiceover. It's not just like thrown together. Like it's really, really solid. And all the characters are really, really amazing and distinct. So kudos to them. I think they really vastly improved like just by adding that one change alone. And I think it's a fun game. There's no combat. It is an RPG where you're a detective, and it's basically D&D like conversation roles, right? Like so, think like rolling like perception or insight or whatever. And like you do have physical checks and stuff, so there are physical stats, to do certain things. But yeah, it's essentially a murder mystery, and you are a detective who wakes up hungover in a fucking hotel, and you don't know why you're there, and you quickly learn that you're supposed to have been investigating like a murder, and instead you just been on like a 5-day bender, like, and there's just a body that's bloated and like decomposing, like it's still
hanging from the tree.
it's still out back, and everyone's kind of pissed at you. And like one of the best things is like it's humorous. This game is funny as fuck. Like like your little internal monologue and like your interactions with people, it gives you some really great dialogue options that like we don't feel discouraged. Sometimes like when I'm playing like Fallout or Mass Effect, like there's a dialogue option that I think is funny, but I'm like, I feel like I'm gonna ruin something if I choose this. Like I just go for it. Disco Elysium, dude. I roasted some little kid that was outside plugging her mom's bookshop. I'm like, I was like, I don't care. My guy, I just kind of imagine is like kind of a sarcastic dickhead. I've been playing him like that, so highly recommend. Zach, what have you been playing, man?
I've been pretty busy, so I haven't been playing too much. But when I have been playing, me and my buddy were running through the Hive Busters DLC for Gears 5,
Yeah, I love that, man.
which is really, really good.
This is your first time
And
playing it?
yeah,
Oh, cool. Yeah, that's I
we were
love that.
gonna play it before, but we were playing over Xbox Live, and I was on the Series X and he was on the One X, so like I would boot into the game way, way quicker, and like it doesn't make you wait. And we're playing on Insanity, so like it would load me in to where we died, and it's just like a bunch of dudes coming at me while I just sit there and wait for him to load in, and I would die, and it would like repeat, and like we would never be able to like sync up. So he's got a Series X now, and so we're running through that, and then that Blood Roots game that just came on Game Pass, I've been um having a lot of fun with, just running in there and trying, blow through levels as quick as you can, with all the different weapons and everything. It's fun. That, and I've been dabbling in the Bulletstorm campaign that
Really?
I beat it on 360, and I bought it one time when it was on sale for like $5, and it's just been sitting there. So I finally, jumped back in, and it's just a lot of over the top fun, just nonsense. And yeah, it's really cool. It's interesting to see that this is, I think, right after People Can Fly made Gears Judgment, I think. So they went from Judgment to this, and now, their big game with Outriders. So it's interesting to see how they're able to, they pull off first person shooters and third person shooters pretty well.
Yeah, I only ever played the demo for Bulletstorm, but
Oh man, kicking dudes into cactuses is so much
good,
fun.
man. When you see, like, because you get scored, and they kind of like tie it in, like you get scores based on like how ridiculous you can kill people, and they actually tie the scoring and everything like into the campaign. You put this thing on, and it's like, oh, he's like, this thing's like judging me and all that shit like that, and like, yeah, and every time you do something, and a big green thing will pop up new, and you're like, oh shit, I can start doing that kill now, and like it's just ridiculous. Slow motion kicking people, and it's awesome.
very cool.
Right on.
Adam, what have you been playing, my friend?
I'm playing second fiddle to Georgian Road Company because he always has the most kills, and I try to get the second.
Yeah, that's how it is. That's how I feel in Destiny, so don't worry.
It is what it is. I'm not mad about it. We're getting W's. No, the real thing I've been doing is, so I started playing Miles Morales again, just because I enjoy that game a lot, and George was talking about it a little while ago because he just finished it. And then I was like, you know what? I never beat the DLC for OG Spider-Man. So I've remastered on PS5, and I've been playing through was it City Never Sleeps, all those 3 DLC packs, and I'm near the middle of the third one. So been having a good time finishing that game so I can uninstall it from PS5 hard drive.
how are you finding the DLC?
It's pretty good. I enjoy it. I like the characters and stuff. And it brings me back to for Hope Spider-Man 2, they change, because even in the DLC, each piece of DLC is like, oh, do 5 random crimes in each borough. I'm like, God, please that's why I like Miles, because Miles just like do one.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, man, but I do like the story and running around doing stuff and kind of reskinned areas and stuff like that. So it's still good. I just hope that they fix that in the sequel. Is not give me 300 random crimes to do that I have to do to complete each borough. But it's great. Gameplay is great. Yuri Lowenthal is great as Spider-Man. All the suits are cool. The new suits are fun. So it's a great game. I just want to finish it so I can, as it's been sitting on my hard drive since I bought it. And I was like, I'll finish that. And it's like, oh, I'm close to the platinum. I don't even care about platinums, and I think I'm almost at it. So we'll see.
Nice. Bobby, are you playing Foxyland 2, or do you just like the background? You're muted.
Oh, it is a beautiful background, and yes, I have been playing it. I did not beat it yet. I was on vacation and I had eye surgery, and then I had the car accident, so it's been a while since I played anything. And the first thing I wanted to do with my new eye was look at Foxyland 2, so I gave her a good checkout.
So many better things you could do with your eyes.
Look, hey, when it's $1, you could do a lot with a dollar. But also, I've been playing Dark Knights with Poe and Monroe. This game right here. You can see the
Okay.
reviews. They're a little backwards, but it works. It's full motion video games. I love them because it's like watching a movie where you get to choose different things. And they were a part of a different full motion video game. God, I can't. The shape shifting detective, which is another detective game, and Disco Elysium is also, by the way. And it's a spinoff of that, and it's fun. I love it. They also have a game called Five First Dates, where you
Yep.
go on dates. Another game, freaking fantastic. DeVecchi Studios, they're awesome. I love them. And that's basically what I've been playing. I can't do baseball anymore until my eye heals because I can't really see the ball coming. So
Can't see the
not
dingers.
hitting many dingers. Let's say my strikeouts are pretty bad. Yeah.
Fair play. How about you, George?
Yeah, I'll go over quick because I gotta run. But yeah, I finished Miles Morales as well. Man, that game was good. It is better than the first one. I kind of wish I had played it sooner. I would have been fine paying $60 for that kind of game length because I thought it was just fine. Maybe an extra mission or two or whatever, but I liked it. Story was good. Yeah, that was just it cut out all the filler, like you guys said. It's so much more fun to play, and also I think his powers are a lot cooler too, right? The Venom stuff is
Venom is so much better than
it's
Gadgets.
so much fun. So really good game. Definitely wish I had played it sooner for sure. I know I gave it a lot of shit when they were charging for what they were charging. So definitely got to eat a little bit of crow there. Like with you guys, been playing Rogue Company a good bit. That's been fun. And also, I just started playing Scarlet Nexus. A buddy of mine gifted it to me for my birthday. So I just started playing it this weekend. I'm maybe about 3 or 4 hours in. Kind of a cool game. It's a little bit hack and slash, but it has a lot of extra combat features, which make it a lot of fun. It's like very anime style. The enemies or monsters in the game, I still don't know what they're all about, but they're fucking weird. Like I was fighting a bouquet of flowers that has legs and heels, red heels. So like I said, very anime and stuff. So it's very interesting. I love the combat. There's a lot of like it has voice acting, but there's a lot of like kind of like if you think of Fire Emblem, that it's just kind of talking like sound wise, not a whole lot of cutscene stuff type, almost like comic style, but they make it a lot more interactive and more intuitive. It looks better because it's almost like it slides in, it phases in and out from that in actual motion. So I think they do a better job of that. But there is a lot of that. Like it's not a whole lot of cutscene and video and stuff, which is cool. But it seems fun. I'm still very early into it, but the story seems pretty interesting. It's kind of wild. So we'll see what happens. There's supposed to be there's two stories in the game. You can play as the male character or female character, and they each have a completely different story arc. So, I don't know that I'll play both, but there's that. Anyways, I got to run because food's ready, but I'll be back a little bit later.
No worries. Yeah, we're gonna wind it down here. I will say because I've also beat Miles Morales. Fuck that final traversal challenge. Oh my god, in Central Park, that shit almost broke me. I think it took me like an hour and a half to do that challenge.
Or it's not. It's just like you do it in the order you want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had the optimized order. It was just like, yeah, man. There's like one little pavilion that like for some reason like he doesn't want to, like there's no like zip point to it. Like you have to swing and like hit up on top of it, and yeah, it caused me trouble. It also just annoyed me to no end that you can't fucking turn off the stories. I'm like, oh my god, I've heard this story 15,000 times about you meeting your buddy, Harry Osborn for like, like just stop. Yes, we know Aunt May had a moral compass, but other than that, I did enjoy Miles Morales as well. Yeah, that will bring us to the end of the show for the week. She is not here, but I did promise a reveal for a new permanent cast member. So she'll probably join us on the next episode. But everybody, welcome Erica to the show. If you've listened to the show for a while, you've heard her as a guest before, and you may have seen her assist with our E3 coverage. We thought it would be really cool to add another member into our midst, and please give her a very warm welcome next week when she joins the show. And that's all I got. Anybody have anything you want to plug before we go?
Go Pats.
Go Pats. Ugh. I'll be doing Rental Rush again, hopefully this coming weekend. So we're recording this on Sunday the 25th. So it would be this coming weekend. I upgraded my audio equipment. I've got lavalier mics and a nice little mixer, and so I can record audio separately. That should hopefully alleviate some issues that we were running into. So stay tuned on Twitter at It's Waterman for more information there.
What are you playing?
We haven't decided. We want something kind of short so we can do some tweaks in between like recording sessions. We might do Death Door because I think that's supposed to be around like 6 or 7 hours.
Everyone needs to play that apparently.
Yeah, but it was a good opportunity where I was like, I'll get enough hands-on impressions and it's short enough for us to beat. But we have not set that in stone yet. But it'll be something short-ish that we can probably do on a Friday and Saturday casually and have time to tweak stuff in between. Until then, thanks for hanging out with us. We will see you next week. Bye.
Later, fellas.
Deuces.